you brought your resumes, have them out, stick around. We'll do some of those critiques and also do some great networking together. Now, our mission at Job Club is to provide a positive environment for job seekers to network and learn best practices for the job search. We meet on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month, and you can find the schedule of the topics at our website at ukalumni.net/Job Club. A quick introduction to our great Job Club facilitators team. We are so appreciative of this team to bring you Job Club twice a month. My name is Amy Gamblin, and I am the Associate Director of Alumni Career Services. I am joined by Caroline Francis, who is the Director of Alumni Career Services. We also have Diana Doggett, the Extension Specialist with the UK Cooperative Extension Services. Also Nicole Waite, who is the Employee Specialist with UK STEPS for temporary employment. Behind the scenes, we have so many wonderful people that make Job Club possible. Suzanne Smith and Sunny Sather from the Fayette County Extension Office, as well as Queen Sullivan, Christy Kaufman, and Lindsay Cottle with the UK Alumni Association. So thanks for this awesome team that we have here supporting us. Now, Job Club is currently hosted in hybrid format. So we are in person, we're also virtually. So we do encourage in-person participation at the Fayette County Extension Office. Sometimes employer recruiters do show up. It's also a great opportunity to network with others in the group, and many jobs are secured, as we know, by networking. We also welcome people who show up virtually. Those who aren't able to come in person, there is a joining us via Zoom webinar where there is a chat box moderator available, and Facebook Live, which is view only, where there is no chat box moderator or job lead newsletter for that Facebook Live option. Now, we do have lots of great resources that you can receive in our free Job Club resource pack on our website for Job Club. It's linked in the newsletter that you will receive after Job Club today. We also highly encourage you to join our LinkedIn group. That information is on the screen or will be in the chat box. And many times employers will send job leads to us that we'll share with you as the newsletter goes out. So make it a part of your regular job search, at least 2 to 3 times a week, to know of the wide variety of jobs that are out there. Now, employers and recruiters are always welcome here at Job Club, where they may have a 1-minute spotlight to share active job leads with a group. Do we have any recruiters out here today? Okay. All right, so a few items to take note of. Please note some people here are conducting a confidential job search, so let's please be respectful of their privacy for that job search of others. You can check out job search related articles included in our Job Club reminder emails. And the recordings and the PowerPoint slides for today will be available to you at ukalumni.net/Job Club. Now, we want to take a moment to welcome any first timers that we have here. So again, welcome first timers. We are so glad you are here. If you are a first timer here in person, please raise your hand. We want to, yeah, that's awesome. Lots of great first timers here today. So welcome everyone. We also want to welcome our first timers online. So if there are any first timers online, again, let us know that in the chat box. We'd love to shout out to you as well and welcome you. Now, again, please note that after today, you'll receive a follow-up survey, and this feedback will place you in our notification system for future programs. So that will be coming to you after today's presentation. All right, next we want to talk about some success stories. So we want to hear, and success can be many things. So it can be, have you set up a recent interview? Perhaps you've had coffee with someone, you did an informational interview with them, or maybe you've updated your resume or LinkedIn profile. So any success stories out there that we can share and celebrate with you today? Any in the, yes, Ren. Other success stories out in the crowd today? Congratulations. What about those who are joining virtually? Please share any success stories that you might have in our chat box. And we want to recognize and celebrate you. So please do let us know your success stories. We want to acknowledge you and celebrate with you as you are pursuing your job search, and whatever ways that we can help and support you. We are always welcoming those success stories for yourself. All right, next we have our wonderful speaker today, Dina Janicki, who will be presenting our topic today. And I'm going to turn it over to her to introduce herself. And I hope everyone enjoys the presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Candina Janicki. I go by Dina. It's much easier. I am a certified Master of Career Services through the National Career Development Association and also Global Career Development Facilitator, as well as a certified professional resume writer. I've been doing career services, providing them and facilitating them for a little over 10 years now. And I currently work with the Microsoft Software and Systems Academy, where I work with veterans and military service members that are transitioning out of the service that are looking to go into the IT field. So I work with them on their professional development aspect of the program. So I work with 14 career development managers as we help them learn to transition from the service to the civilian sector, and everything from building their resumes to networking to finding their role as career switchers. Because regardless of what they did in the service, even if they worked in IT, the switch to the civilian sector is a career switch, and it's an industry switch, as what they did is very different. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, is moving into a different industry or a different career and how you kind of make that switch. So we're going to talk a little bit about researching yourself, researching the industry, your marketing materials, and moving from job search to career readiness, as that's a great way to make yourself lucky. People talk about what it means to be lucky, which is nothing but opportunity meets preparation, which I believe was the philosopher Seneca that is actually credited with saying that many, many years ago. So to start, the first thing that you have to do is you have to start with researching yourself. That's the first part of any portion of establishing and looking to where you want to go, especially if you're talking about a career switch. It's knowing your brand and knowing what sets you apart. And it's easily the first part that most people miss when they're looking at establishing a new job or finding a new job, is taking the time to figure out what they want and where they want to go. So I'm going to start today with us talking about researching yourself. And everything we're going to talk about today is pretty much a high level overview. Everything that we're working here, you can definitely take and go to your local career center, your university career center, your Department of Labor's, or any of the many free resources that are out there to help you work and follow up on this. But I want to give you some resources and some tools today that you can take with you to help you as you're going through. And I'm going to talk through some links and some information that the wonderful people at the Job Club will be able to give you following the presentation that I've shared with them. So the first part is knowing your history and knowing what you want now. And I say now because it may change. We no longer live in the world where you come out of high school and you pick a role and you stay in that role for 30 years and then you get a watch and you get a nice retirement, and that's the way the world works. We live in a society where people move from job to job, and our career isn't so linear anymore. You might go forward and backwards and take a break and take a stop. And for myself, I am not only working with veterans and military service members, I'm also happen to be married to one for 24 years now. He's about to retire himself. And through that, the reason that this topic and this area is so near and dear to my heart is I've had to reinvent myself probably every 3 to 4 years for most of my career as we moved locations. And in the earlier part of our career, before online, before remote, before that stuff, that meant finding a new job wherever we were, what was available, what industries were available, what my degree might or might not associate to, and reinventing myself, which is what led me to career services and what led me to this. So I learned that sometimes I had to think outside of the box, and I really had to learn what worked for me now and how it might lead to my future. So you have to understand what your needs are in a position, what your wants, where you want to work, your salary needs, what kind of company you want to work for, and you have to kind of research those things. You also have to know what you bring to the job. So with that in mind, there's 2 exercises that I want to present today that you can start using to help with that. The first one is called a career lifeline, and the second one is narrative stories, and it ties into STAR statements or SOAR statements that you may have heard of before. So the career lifeline, the example you have here is actually my career lifeline. So a career lifeline is exactly what it sounds like. You start with a nice little line, and the way I do it, different career service people do it a little bit differently. I set mine up with everything below the line is something I didn't quite like. So I wasn't really happy with chores. I've never been someone who really likes cleaning house. It's a necessary evil. And I didn't love working at McDonald's. It wasn't one of my favorite jobs. Everything above the line is something that I didn't quite mind or I loved. And then that's how I set it up above or below the line. The second part is dividing that role into what makes it up. So what are the skills that are involved? What are the qualities that are involved? What made up that role? You're breaking down the job into its parts so that you can start seeing trends of what you've done throughout your career lifeline. And you can outline, because even the things that you liked doing had aspects of it that maybe you didn't like. So you start with your very first job. So one of the things that you'll notice is chores is my first job because I started doing that at a young age. And this is paid or unpaid. So I started doing chores at the age of 6. I didn't start getting paid for them until I was about 12, but I started doing them at 6. So it just kind of broke it down. And the reason that I don't like chores is because they never stop. If I clean dishes, I turn around and they're there again. So what that tells me about myself is I like that aspect of completing a project. I like seeing something from start to finish and that satisfaction of knowing it's done. So that's something I learned through that. Babysitting was the next one I went. When I got down to about 18, I started working at a bail bonds company, and I loved the customer service aspect of it. I loved, helping people and the engagement. I liked building the relationships with the lawyers and working at the courthouse. It made me feel important. I didn't like that sometimes it was an unsafe environment and that sometimes, I had to work late night hours and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how you break down a career lifeline. And you can gain a lot of information about yourself that will tie into what we're going to talk about in a little bit with your brand and how to identify skills and qualities that translate across different jobs. That's where this becomes important, because when we're talking about looking at jobs outside the box and outside of job titles to things that your skills may allow you to translate to other roles, it's important to recognize what you bring to the table and not just the job titles. And hopefully that's making sense. And we can definitely talk about that in the question and answer session if it doesn't. But this is an example of how to do this. And you can lay out a nice long paper and hand draw this if you want, or if you're technically savvy, you can do it on the computer. I personally like just taking a piece of paper and going at it because you can bubble it. You can do it however you would like. The second activity is called narrative stories. So the way a narrative story works is it's just telling your stories. I like the technique of having 3 people and you sit down and you just start telling your stories of what you did in your jobs, and having a person sit with you that just asks you questions. It could be your spouse, it could be a friend, could be a neighbor, could be anybody. They just say, hey, when you worked at McDonald's, what did you do? Like, tell me about a time you had a bad customer. How did it go? And you just start talking. And that's why it's a narrative. You just start telling your stories about your job, about how things were going. The reason you have a third person is that third person is just a listener. They're just identifying skills, or they're identifying traits or qualities or little things that are coming out in your story that they can relay back to you that you may not have identified. I like the narrative because most people are humble and they have a hard time identifying their strengths and their weaknesses. They have a hard time saying, I'm good at something, or I've done something. So having that third person help you is really effective. Your children can help you with this. Kids are great questioners, as we all know. So having your kids ask you questions, they love it because it's the first time we don't tell them to stop. So great aspect. Something that can help is having your note taker use the STAR or any of the other methods such as SOAR or SHARE to help identify some of those aspects that you're going to use for your interview techniques. So STAR is just identifying the situation, the task, the action, and the result that came from your stories. This is also helpful when they give you your notes. You take those notes back and you also do a narrative yourself. So what I mean by that is when you have finished your narrative section, take those notes back and create your own journal and start narrating or journaling your own narrative stories and identify your STAR statements. When we're talking about transitioning or maybe possibly trying to translate it to another career or another industry, I like to throw on an extra T at the end of STAR for translate, or an extra R for reflection. So what I mean by that is instead of just STAR, it would be START. So situation, task, action, result, translate. So tell me about the situation, describe what you were doing, describe the task, the challenges, the deadlines, the issues, the action you took, the results of it, and how it translates to what you're going to be doing for this company or this role. Or reflection, what you learned from it and how it can be addressed in this company. So that added R. The key with all of this is to do the work for the recruiter. Make it easy for them. You don't want them to have to second guess. And these can be used for your interviews, to answer interview questions. It can also help you in developing your resume. All right.
Personal branding is very important. Companies and businesses spend millions on ensuring that their branding is accurate to how they want to represent themselves. Making sure that the image is right, the message is clear, and it's appealing to the right audience. Now replace this idea, and instead of the business's brand, what about your personal brand? How much time and effort do you spend on your personal branding? Do you even know what your personal branding is? You've got one even though you've never thought about it, and it might be doing you more harm than good. Personal branding allows you to look at yourself from different perspectives. From your perspective, you may think that you have everything you need to get into the job market. However, if you change that perspective, no one will even know you're there. It is important that the right people can see the right thing about you. Let's look at all the things that a business uses to improve their personal brand. Let's say we have a business that produces a product. To improve our brand, we need to look at a few things. One of them being the product features. What is unique about this product that sells it apart from everything else? What is the appeal of our product? Next, we look at the target audience. Who will be buying this product and why? What age range and demographic? Now, what we have to do is emphasize on the product features that will appeal to the target audience. We could do this in a lot of ways. For example, by picking the right logo, by making press releases, and advertising campaigns. Once we've done this, we know the right product features is appealing to the right demographic. This then draws attraction to our product, we get lots of sales, and we live on a nice beach house somewhere. But let's go back. Let's take all of this and imagine that product is you. Now we have a look at your product features. What makes you unique? What specific skills, experiences and specialisms do you have? What are your personal qualities, your interests? All of these are features that make you unique and special. Your target audience will be people in your career area that potentially could employ you. It's also anyone that could help you get in contact with potential employers. Now, like every business, we need to link your product features to your target audience. What key features are you going to emphasize? What are your marketing outputs? Outputs such as your CV, your Facebook profile, what you wear, your body language, what you say and how you say it all communicate your personal brand. You can control your brand, and it's important to get it right. Many people are competing for the same job as you, but when you get it right, you might not get that beach house we talked about, but it will land you a job.
So everything we talked about for the Career Lifeline, for the narrative story, all of that is partly to help you get to know your brand. Two other things you can do to help you to know your brand, to identify your personal strengths and your weaknesses, is to get what you want to tell to an employer, what you want to be the message that you're putting out. So something else that you can do is the SWOT analysis. If any of you are in the business area or have taken business classes, you're probably very familiar with the SWOT analysis, but it can also be used to your personal self. So you can sit down and figure out what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, where are your opportunities, and what are the threats to you in the job search. You can also ask what's already out there. As the video talked about, we all have a brand. We may not be aware of it. So one of the things that I always recommend for my participants and my clients is do a survey. Find out what you're already known for. What is already out there about you? And is that something that you're okay with? Or is it something that you need to work on? So ask your family, ask your friends, your coworkers, your instructors. Ask up, ask down, and ask to the side. So you want to make sure you're getting it from all levels. What would you identify as my top 3 values? What are my professional skills? Where do I have room for growth and development? This is going to be super helpful for that horrible, dreaded question that you might get asked on an interview is, what's your biggest weakness? What words do you associate with me? That can be helpful in trying to figure out what you're going to actually write for your brand statement. What stands out? If I left the room, how would you describe me? That's one of my favorite ones as far as that goes. And don't forget your online presence. What is out there for you when someone does a Google search? Don't forget images. Click on images. What images are out there about you? There may be images that you're not even aware of because you're tagged in them and you're looking at them. There's a good chance an employer is going to Google you. So what are they going to see? All of that ties into your brand, just like it does if you're trying to buy a new bicycle or buy a new product and you go and do a Google search. What is your reputation? What's out there? If you're going up for a job against someone else who has a very similar background to you, very similar education, everything else, what's going to give you that little extra push to make you stand out? Are you known as the relationship builder? Are you someone that can go in and make everybody in the room feel very comfortable? That's going to be extremely helpful if you're going in for a sales job, or you're going in for a job where you're going to be engaging with customers or working across teams, something like that. Are you a change agent? Are you someone that manages teams well? What is it that sets you apart? It's something that you're going to want to make sure that you are aware of. So knowledge is power. The second part of that brand video that we walked through, and the second part of preparing, is knowing your industry and knowing your companies. And this is where we start thinking outside the box. What is out there? Well, the first part is, where can we research? Well, one of the biggest ones is ONET Online through the Department of Labor. You can go on there, you can look at different industries, you can look at different companies' backgrounds, you can see where your skills can possibly translate. You can look up roles and see what skills and requirements and backgrounds are needed for that. LinkedIn Career Explorer is one that a lot of people aren't aware of, and doesn't matter if you have the free version of LinkedIn or you have the paid version, you have access to this. And it walks you through the highly required skills for different levels, what it can translate to. It's an excellent site, and you're going to be given the link for that as well. Look at company websites and annual reports. Look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You want to understand what a company and what an industry is looking for. What are the needs? Who are the key players? What are the hot topics? What is the mission? How do their operations work? What are the trends? And what is happening? So that you can identify where you want to work, where your skills translate to, what companies you actually want to work for. I think something that's often forgotten is it's a two-way street. You want to make sure you're a match for the company as much as they're a match for you. You're a match for the industry as much as they're a match for you. So we want to make those connections and make sure our skills match what they're looking for, but they match what we're looking for as well. So the cultures, the trends, all of this is going to set you up to do the biggest part, which is that marketing.
All right.
Excuse me,
All right.
I want to find out the fellow's name.
As long as it's okay with
I'm
the audience.
crazy about baseball.
Will you stand still? Pick up your hat. Go pick up your hat.
Okay.
Now look. Then you'll go and peddle your popcorn and don't interrupt the act anymore?
Yes, sir.
All right. But you know, strange as may seem, they give ball players nowadays very peculiar names.
Funny names?
Nicknames, pet names.
Not as funny as my name, Sebastian Dinwiddie.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Funnier than that?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Now, on the St. Louis team, we have who's on first, what's on second. I don't know's on third.
That's what I want to find out. I want you to tell me the names of the fellas on the St. Louis team.
I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
Do you know the fellas' names?
Yes.
Well, then who's playing first?
Yes.
I mean, the fellow's name on first base.
Who?
The fellow playing first base for St. Louis.
Who?
The guy on first base.
Who is on first?
Well, what are you asking me for?
I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, who is on first?
I'm asking you who's on first.
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Well, go ahead and tell me.
Who?
The guy on first.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who is on first?
Have you got a first baseman on first?
Certainly.
Then who's playing first?
Absolutely.
When you pay off the first baseman every month, who gets the money?
Every dollar of it. Why not? The man's entitled to it.
Who is?
Yes.
So who gets it?
Why shouldn't he? Sometimes his wife comes down and collects it.
Whose wife?
Yes. After all, the man earns it.
Who does?
Absolutely.
Well, all I'm trying to find out is what's the guy's name on first base?
Oh, no. What is on second base?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
That's what I'm trying to find
Well,
out.
don't change the players.
I'm not changing nobody.
Take it easy.
What's the guy's name on first base?
What's the guy's name on second base?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know.
He's on third. We're not talking about him.
How did I get on third base?
You mentioned his name.
If I mention a third baseman's name, who did I say is playing third?
No, who's playing first?
Stay off of first, will you?
Well, what do you want me to do?
Now, what's the guy's name on third base?
What's on second?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know.
He's on third.
There I go, back on third again.
Well, I can't change their names.
Will you please stay on third base, Mr. Broadhurst?
Now, what is it you want to know?
What is the fella's name on third base?
What is the fella's name on second base?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know. Third
Third
base. You got an outfield?
Oh, sure.
St. Louis?
So marketing yourself is all about communication. It's ensuring that you're clear on your objectives and how you match their needs and that you understand their needs. So that video is just a quirky little way of showing that it's important that we're communicating the same thing. And all of that's coming down to researching and being clear in our communications across. So for your marketing materials, you want to make sure the brand across all elements that you're looking at, your resume, your LinkedIn, your cover letters, is the same. And it backs up what you want to say. That comes down to that targeting and that research being a must. We want to make sure that we're including any volunteer experience. We're not discounting activities, and we're approaching everything from the why does the company care? And that's why part 2, that research into the industries, the companies, their needs, their elements is so important. We have to do the work for the recruiter, make it so easy to see how you bring value that it's a no-brainer. And to show how you bring value, it ties back to that part 1, the research on yourself. So you do the research on yourself, the research on the industry so that you can make those connections for the recruiter in your resume, in your interview, so that it's so easy that they're willing to say yes. So it's meant to get you the interview. The resume, the cover letter, your marketing materials are meant to get you the interview. They're not meant to get you the job. The interviewer is meant to get you the job. Or the interview, not the interviewer. The interviewer is meant to give you the job, hopefully. So identify your target roles and then target. And you do this for every role. And this is especially important if you're going for a role that's outside of what you've normally done. This targeting is a must for every resume, for everything you're doing for roles, but it's especially important if you're transitioning careers or you're transitioning and career switching. So I like to call these master resumes for role types. I call them role masters, what you're creating here. And then you do a final targeting from the role master. So if I'm looking at a role where I am going to take a business background that I have and say I've been working in customer service, and I've been doing customer service as I've been going through school and that kind of stuff, but now I want to target an entry-level role, and I'm looking at maybe banking and possibly accounting, that kind of stuff. I might do a role master for banking and a role master for accounting. We'll just start with those two. I'm being oversimplifying here just as an example. The first step I'm going to do is I'm going to go and find at least 20 job descriptions for banking, and I'm going to find at least 20 job descriptions for accounting. I'm going to use LinkedIn, Indeed, the company website. So I'm going to go straight to the bank's websites, Navy Federal, USAA. Sorry, I'm more familiar with military banks than I am some of the other ones. Get those. I'm going to go to some accounting firms. I'm going to get those. I'm going to get all kinds of LinkedIn ones, job boards. And I'm going to, I'm a little old fashioned. I'm going to print them out because I like to take a highlighter and do them, but whichever way works for you. But I'm going to take them and I'm going to read them top to bottom. And I'm going to highlight any skills, qualities, descriptions, job duty that stands out that they're asking for. That is the step 2. And do not miss from top to bottom. I just had a participant apply for a job at NBC Universal that one of the preferred skills in the very bottom of the interview, or excuse me, the job description stated, please ensure in your resume or cover letter that you put the word peacock in. And the peacock was in parentheses. Now, that's all it said. It's a great way to weed out people because most people don't read the entire job description. Luckily, he did. He has an interview set up for next week. He put peacock in his cover letter. But easily to miss, especially because it was down in preferred skills at the very bottom. Step 3, you use a matching sheet, which I will show you here in a minute. And you put what you match and what you don't. And I'll give you an example of how that uses. But basically you go through and you write down all the skills that you saw that were common and a little tick mark of how many times they showed, whether you match them, whether you don't, and if they're a major requirement, we're going to address them. So this is kind of what an example matching would look like. So team building appeared on the majority of them. And the way I would do them is I'd have a little tick mark of how many times team building appeared in those 20. So I know this one is super important. I have team building, so I'm going to make sure that that ends up on that resume. This is for the banking one. Let's say I needed a certification, but I don't have that certification. So I'm going to put it over here in my missing section. Now that certification might be important. So maybe that's something I address in my cover letter that I plan on getting that certification. Or it may not be that important. So I just leave it be because I'm transferring careers or I'm coming into as a new person. It's not that big a deal. So I'm just not going to address it. Depends on how much weight it has. But I'm not going to put team building down every single time I see it in those 20. I'm just going to put a little tick mark each time it appears so that I can see how important it is. And that's kind of how you do the job matching sheet. What you end up with is that role master. Once I have that, so I've got one for my banking and I've got one for my accounting. Then when I go to actually apply for the job, so now I'm taking Navy Federal has a job that pops up for a banking position. I pull out my banking role master and that job and I do one final target where I'm going to make sure I didn't miss anything specific to that job. And I focus on what matches and what translates because there's going to be aspects of my history that don't if I'm a career switcher or if I'm entering the roles for the first time because I'm an entry-level candidate. So I want to make sure that what's on my resume and what I'm addressing is what's important to that role. And I'm not hyper-focusing on what doesn't. So hopefully that makes sense as we go through. So some lessons learned as I've been doing this from my own experience and from my clients. Switching careers or switching industries, cover letters is one aspect that I highly recommend. You're going to see a lot of people tell you that cover letters are starting to become outdated. But if you are needing to make translations or address gaps in your experience, education, anything, a cover letter can help. I like to use a 2-column cover letter. I like the idea of you're asking for and I bring, and that gives me an opportunity to take one of those and say, you're asking for this and I may not match exactly, but here is how I match. So I can make those translations for them. It makes it a little bit easier. But if you do have, say, a missing certification, that cover letter gives you a chance to address that. To say, I realize that you're looking for this certification and I have plans to acquire this certification by this date. Just be aware that anything like that that you put, make sure you're willing to follow through with it, because now you've made an obligation. Think outside of the norm. You may move to a location or an area where the jobs or the type of industry that you've been working in isn't there, but your skills may translate into another area. I worked with a career counselor at one point when I was working on my certification, and she had a wonderful activity where she had you write down your top 10 things that you would do in a job if you had your choice, and then try to find a job that accompanied those things, not thinking about the job title itself. And it's amazing the different types of jobs you can find thinking about what you want to do rather than the job title or the industry. So kind of thinking a little bit outside the box. Break down how something is done to its skills to see if you actually have the capabilities to do it. Again, not thinking so much about titles. In your resumes, if you're a career switcher or you're switching to a different industry, take advantage of a highlight section. The highlight section gives you a chance to move up some of those things to the top of the resume that might be hidden in below that are more important to the translation. So instead of them not being able to see it, you can get it up in that top 30 seconds that they're scanning to catch their attention, to make them want to read the rest. And then conduct informational interviews. Reach out to the people that are in the industry and in the jobs that you're thinking about, and ask them questions and see what skills and what things that you're doing to see if they can help you make some of those translations. Cannot stress enough how much informational interviews can be helpful. So what do you do when you land the role? Don't stop. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I have seen people make, and my participants in particular make, I have some participants that according to their LinkedIn are still in my class 8 years later. Move from job search mode to career readiness and development mode. Start an I love me file. Maintain narratives on projects and things that you're doing in your your new role. Keep your resume up to date. If you get on LinkedIn, maintain it, keep it active, continue to develop, network, continue talking to people, because we all hear about that person that was super lucky and got that job. Oh, they're so lucky. It's not really about luck. It's about being prepared for when that opportunity presents itself, because luck is nothing but preparation meets opportunity. So we want to make sure we're all ready to go so that that other person can look at us and go, oh gosh, Dina was so lucky that she fell into that job. And hopefully I did not move too quickly. I wanted to make sure I got through everything, but feel free to connect with me if you are on LinkedIn, and I will open it up to questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Dina. What an amazing wealth of information that we received. That was taking notes. I'm sure we've got some questions, but you were so thorough. I'm not sure, because you certainly did give us a great insight on branding, on resumes. So do we have any questions in our in-person audience? Anyone have a question they want to ask Dina? Yes, we do have one. Here we go. Were you able to hear that question?
I apologize. I can't hear anybody in the audience.
So the question is, who should you contact in the career that you're transferring to in order to craft the language, the abilities, responsibilities in that particular career?
The best person that I would say to contact is the person doing the job. So if you're on LinkedIn, that's a great element. You can take advantage of those that are in the alumni groups or other commonalities that you may have as far as that goes. But you can honestly go to a company that you're interested in and go to their company LinkedIn website, and then you can click on people. And through people, you can actually search by the job title and find individuals that are in that role. And what I do is then I click on them to see when they were last active. And if they're pretty active, then at that point, you can either use one of your in-mails or just your connection response. Just make sure that anytime you're connecting, you're putting a message and reach out. I have found that most people are willing to talk to you. And if you address it as, hey, I'm interested in the role and what you do in your career, and I would love to have a 30-minute conversation with you, if you're willing, about what you do and what it takes to do your role and what you have found are the most important skills and qualifications. And then if they agree to it, you set up a Zoom or you set up a Teams. Then the other thing is be respectful of their time. So if you said 30 minutes, then at 25 minutes, you say, we've got 5 minutes left. I greatly appreciate your time. I want to be respectful. We can close this up. Then if they're willing to keep going, great. If not, you set up a follow-up, you thank them for their time, whatever it is, you send the thank you letter. Most people are more than willing, especially if they're active in LinkedIn and they're active on that. Most people that are saying yes are going to be more than happy to help you and give back. But if you can find a connection, if you're a veteran, you look for a veteran in that company that's doing that role. They're going to help you. If you're an alumni, you look and see if anybody's an alumni in that company. Even if they're not in the same role, they're probably willing to help you or find someone in that role. But if you just come to them and ask, most of the time they're going to help you. And you can do that same thing in your local area.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Okay, well, thanks for a terrific presentation, Dina.
Thank you.
Again, you have her contact information. So if you want to scan that QR, I'm sure you can post those questions to her at a later date. Thanks again.
Please just, when you send me a message, just let me know that you're from the job club, and that way I know to accept you.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. So we are moving on to our segment now with employers. And if you have a job lead, we would like for you to just raise your hand and we'll allow you to announce that job lead virtually. I don't believe we have any in person today at the Fayette County Extension office, but any online? Yes, we do. Here we go.
Can you hear me?
Start now.
Hey, Dina, and that LinkedIn request came from me, Krista Martin here from the Job Club. I'd love to connect with you on what you're doing for, military folks and families transitioning. But today I am still recruiting for 2 hybrid member engagement representative roles with Direct Employers Association. We are a nonprofit member association built for and by employers and represent over 1,000 employers that comprise our association. So if you are, have at least a high school diploma, technical skills, internet savvy, customer service oriented, ready to actively listen and work with our members, which are those, employer that are part of the association. We would love for you to apply. We do prefer familiarity with case record management systems and practices, if at all possible, and, preferably some college or equivalent experience, but it's not, required. We really want the right person, for these roles. Our member engagement representatives are on the front line working with our employer members and providing that high level and high touch of customer service and care that they've come to know and expect from Direct Employers Association. Also throwing in the link for Kentucky Career Center's Kentucky Career Portal. We host the Kentucky State Job Bank for the Commonwealth that is powered through the U.S. National Labor Exchange. And I will put the link in there for expanded search for jobs, internships, apprenticeships, employers, labor market information, and more, as well as the main site also has our calendar of career events. So for those of you in job search mode, this is your trusted and vetted and accessible source for the most current and up-to-date job listings in the state and in the country. So that's what I've got.
All right, thanks, Krista. A reminder that you can email us job leads by noon today at ukalumnicareer@uky.edu, and we will include them in our post-meeting job lead list. And now we want to move into our job facilitator team news, and we'll begin with the Cooperative Extension Service. Again, we always are appreciative that we meet here at our primary location, our first satellite at the Fayette County Extension Office. And so if you're in the Central Kentucky area, we invite you to come in person. We have a great audience today, and we will have networking that will soon follow. Programs, resources are all listed online at all 120 counties in Kentucky. So we want you to check that out. Fall is always one of the best times to visit those websites because there are such great programs for you to participate as well as volunteer with. So check out Cooperative Extension, and shout out to all of our colleagues that are viewing and with us today. Next, we have some updates from UK Steps, and our colleague team member, Nicole Waite, will be sharing some job leads at this time.
Thank you, Diana, and I will not be too long here. Once again, I'm Nicole Waite. I'm an employment specialist with STEPS here at the University of Kentucky. We are a part of the employment team here at the university. Alrighty, so the first job that I'm going to mention is a STEPS Program Associate Support, and that's with our College of Social Work, well, within the College of Social Work, I should say. And then we have a Medical Records Correspondent Clerk with UK Healthcare. Have an administrative services assistant, sorry about that, within the College of Nursing, a STEPS business coach, and that one is actually at a location in Ashland, Kentucky. So I'm not sure if we have any attendees online that are located in Ashland, but that's actually with the Small Business Development Center there. We have a STEPS nurse, certified nurse midwife, I should say, and then another administrative assistant position. And so if you're interested in those positions or any other positions, feel free to visit our website at ukjobs.uky.edu. And there are actually filters there where you can enter in information about job details or descriptions or just some type of career that you may be interested in. You can kind of look at those jobs, read the job descriptions, things like that. And so I'll also have these jobs sent. We'll have those jobs added in the newsletter that's going to go out later on this afternoon. All righty. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. And just be sure that you check your chat box for those of you that are attending online, and we have that contact information listed there. Next is our UK Career Services. And if you would like some more one-on-one help with resume writing, interview tips, LinkedIn, job search strategies, there are opportunities for you to get some one-on-one coaching services in these areas. So there's information in the packet online, or for those of you in person in your first attendee packet on how to get signed up for that. And there's also a link to explore those services in our chat box. Next time at Job Club, October the 10th, show up and show out. Interviewing and job search in 2023. And this will be presented by Arthur Hughes, and he is executive client partner with the Heller DeLand Group. So this is very timely because, again, the interview process is so very, very important. So we look forward to his perspective. We want you to be here. Write that date down, October the 10th. And until then, we look very, very forward to you joining us at each and every job club. And for those of you that are in person, we will now have time to network, and we're going to be doing a resume review. So again, if you're in the Central Kentucky area, we invite you to come join us in person and take advantage of these resources. So until next time, goodbye, and we'll see you October the 10th.